Hi, this is Bill with Chicago 3 Media.
Hi, Phil. This is Masiela Lusha.
Hi, Masiela. You know, actually, when I got the opportunity to talk with you, I was wondering what happened to you the day before. I was doing some research on you, and so it was quite a surprise because you were always so much fun on the George Lopez show, and I always enjoyed your character and so feisty, and you went through so many different levels, from a little girl to a girl ready to go off to college and everything, and it was lots of fun, that show, and I bet you it was a lot of fun for you to do, wasn't it?
Yeah, I learned a lot through my character, for sure. She was definitely more experienced than I was.
Because, yes, I was understanding that your personality is quite different. Your kindergarten teacher described you as a soft-spoken, gentle child. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would definitely describe us as totally opposite, for sure.
Yes. And your English teacher at 12 thought you were thoughtful and graceful. I guess that came from a little bit of your ballet training, maybe, huh?
That's all from my ballet. I give full credit to my ballet training for that.
You're a natural poet, and I saw that it runs in your family. And I remember the part you were in the show too, and I relate back to that where you were mad at your father, George Lopez, and you went there and read out your poem, and I thought, oh, okay, the girl's being rebellious, but here you really are a poet. And
they definitely incorporated that into the character. So many elements of my personality that they've tossed in and turned it into a real human being. Yeah.
And your first book was Inner Thoughts.
Yes, Inner Thoughts I wrote when I was about 12 years old.
12.
It was my first published work. It was influenced by my trips around Europe during the summertime with my mom and I, visiting family and seeing so many new experiences outside of Michigan that I just turned everything into a poem, every experience.
So you're very much the observer then in life, are you?
Poetry, one thing that I credit poetry is that it forces me to see details about life that in any other circumstance, speaking for myself, I would totally overlook. Like everything is is framed in a poem. So the leaf floating in the river, all alone, just floating down the river, it turns it into a poem. Everything is profound through poetry.
Poetry, obviously, a lot of people love it, and it's lovely, and you've won awards for it too, haven't you?
I have, but that's the poetry. I think we live in poetry. I think every element of our life is part of poetry. Even living in Hollywood, I mean, the industry itself, just moving pictures, for example, could be a poem. I think we don't give our society enough credit about exposing us to the lyrical aspects of life, because songs have poetry in them, and so yeah, I think we're all part of it.
That's a very good way to look at it. Maybe I should get rid of some of my resentment or whatever growing up and look into poems, because obviously you're a very gentle soul in this life, and you are very giving. You are involved in a lot of things that are helping people, aren't you? Can you talk a little bit about that? What you do?
Absolutely. Oh, gosh. Well, it all stems from my belief that if I don't somehow reach out or leave some kind of meaningful impact in this world, I feel like I'm a waste of space. I'm constantly trying to validate my existence here. But it really started from when I was about 5 years old and I saw firsthand the touch of philanthropy. I was with my mom and we basically left the country. We were refugees and we escaped from Albania. And at the time, because of all the political turmoil, they had the governments were combating each other between Albania and Hungary. And the Albanian government at the time, this is when we were transitioning from the horrific communistic phase and transitioning into a more liberal government. They threatened to basically kill us. They threatened to kill everybody on the bus who was escaping communism.
Jeez.
And we were wondering from one day to the next whether we would stay alive or not. And America found out. And they had brought in, through the Red Cross, they had brought in volunteers to join us on the bus and to stand between the window pane and the outside world. So in case somebody were to try to bomb the bus, they would be impacted first as a sign against humanity. And when I still remember vividly being on that bus and just seeing the faces and these amazing rainbow faces of people just putting their life on the line for a culture they didn't even understand yet. And that really impacted me, and I realized there's so much beauty in philanthropy, and it really does impact people on a human and on an intimate level. So that's why I keep pursuing it. As
a child, that must have been horrific. You have emotional memories of that? I mean, that bother you?
No, I mean, if anything, it's a positive influence, because now I see what is possible through philanthropy, what is possible through giving to society, that there isn't really a screen for me. I know the immediate impact that can be offered to somebody else in a more unfortunate situation.
Wow, not many people walk in your feet. Just your heart is there for humanity, and that's wonderful that you experience all these things, I guess you take it as a positive, and that
Absolutely, it's a blessing.
Yes, it is.
Way,
yeah. Wow. Now, so what have you been? I know you're humanitarian. You've been doing a lot of work. You're doing writing. What else are you involved in now after this George Lopez show?
I've been focusing on film, so my primary focus right now is feature films. As soon as I wrapped George Lopez, I went and stayed all summer in the Balkans, and we were filming a movie there. And then from there, I flew over to Argentina and China for Blood the Last Vampire. I came back and I actually produced one of my first films, Kill Katie Malone, which was shown in various channels, also limited theatrical release.
Mm-hmm. Did
various other movies, and did 2 movies this year.
Well, they got to get out there. You have to get the word out about these movies so people can watch them. You can get them on Netflix, or where can you search for them?
Oh, absolutely. Netflix has quite a number of films. But yeah, the films I did this year as well, we just wrapped, so I'm very excited about that. And 2 more films that I'm currently in the talks for. It doesn't stop. I mean, constantly my life is just playing other characters.
Wow. How is that for you? I mean, how do you describe being an actress?
Gosh, it's a beautiful craft. It's a beautiful industry. I think it's one of the most noble industries that I've come to experience firsthand in the world.
Mm-hmm.
However, as an actor, you're constantly portraying somebody else. And when you start out young, when you're still developing your own personality and your own character, but you have to push that aside so you can play another character that's written for you. It's very difficult to then return to yourself and find out who you are. If I had a child, I probably would wait until that child was about 18 years old before they pursue Hollywood. You
must have had, as a child star, everything you pretty much wanted then, too.
Absolutely. It's a hyper reality. You're in a cocoon world. Mm-hmm. And it has a different dynamic than what you would experience in the real world. So I would speak for myself, but I definitely grew up having a different perspective on society based on the soundstage experience as opposed to the high school years that I experienced.
Yeah, I know you started as a model, very lovely young girl, and then it kind of branched out to television. You did, I think. I forget the show. I think a Disney product, Disney Channel. You were on.
Lizzie McGuire, yeah.
Lizzie McGuire. Okay. And how old were you then?
I started when I was about 12. That's when I first moved to Los Angeles and just pursued it consistently, without pause, and with full passion for about 15 years now. 16 years.
I grew up in North Hollywood, so you know the area probably, and a lot of people on screen and do this, and writers, directors, and all that, and it just something that I never went towards. But I would see how much effort it took out of these kids. They were going to learn dance, music, singing, acting, everything.
Absolutely. I remember there was one time when I asked my mom, because I had 3 auditions that day. I hadn't done my school project that I needed that was due the following day, and I asked her, very frankly, I said, what is my priority? What should my priority be? I was 14, 13 at the time. Is it work? Is it finding sustainable jobs in Hollywood, or is it going to school and graduating with honors?
Yes.
And she said both. I'll never forget her answer. She said there is no such thing as one priority over another when it comes to your life. Both of them deserve your full attention.
How does a 14-year-old...
How do you process that? You're like, okay, that's a great thought.
How does one do that? How can you accomplish... I mean, because we all... I believe, multitasking, people multitask. Well, I think what happens is you're losing a lot of focus on each individual thing that you're... I don't think the human brain can communicate in 2 or 3 thoughts. I think it's like, a little tunnel. Only one thing can get through there at a time, and depending on how fast your mind is able to work, then you can get several things that appears at one time. So you're only able to do one thing with complete dedication, but obviously you went on, finished college. You did the normal thing, and you became the successful star out of the George Lopez show. So you really could accomplish what your mom said, to put both as priorities, and you did very well.
Yeah, so it's a funny thing when somebody tells you both can be done, or anything in this world can be done. Somehow you formulate a realistic world where it can be done. So I kind of didn't have an option there. She said, both are your priority. You better graduate, and graduate early, and you also should book a job. Good. I did both.
That's another thing. You graduated high school at 15, right?
I graduated high school at 15.
That's unbelievable.
I remember my schedule basically consisted of 6 a.m. I would go to school until about 9 a.m. From 9 a.m. till about 6 p.m. I would go to work on George Lopez.
Wow.
And then from 7 p.m. till about midnight I'd be back in school. There's definitely a time to do things when you put your heart and your mind into it.
Okay, not everybody could do what you have accomplished. Would you agree with that, or would you say everybody can do what you did?
Everybody. I believe with all my heart, based on my own personal experience, I did nothing truly exceptional except give myself time and encourage myself along the way. Anybody is capable of what I did and more, for sure.
Wow,
no doubt.
That's amazing. Well, hey, look, congratulations on your engagement, right? You engaged
Thank
live?
You know, I'm still on cloud 9.
I would think so. This has got to be fantastic because. I was wondering if you were married or what was on, too. I was thinking you had kids. And Ramzi Habibi, right?
Yes, Ramzi. It was a total surprise engagement, a surprise trip to Maui. Woke me up 2 hours before we were scheduled to fly and just said, pack your bags for a few days, going on a trip. Didn't tell me anything. Even by the time we entered the airport, still didn't reveal any details until I finally found the ticket. And then it was unbelievable. The thought and effort. Oh. Wow.
No idea at all.
No idea. I just remember waking up one morning. We were finally on a break, and he said, "Come on, pack your bags. We have 2 hours to get ready." And it was so thoughtful. It was beautiful.
Oh yeah. So man, and this you're gonna have children? You're planning on having children?
Definitely hope so. With God's good grace and humor, absolutely.
That's
but
wonderful.
My passion is acting, is Hollywood, and so that right now is my priority.
Yes. I always thought about people that get burnt out in Hollywood because it's such a ride. It's a different world, and all of a sudden you don't have that world anymore. You don't have the attention. You're left out. You can't get a job anymore. You're just not right for parts. And so how do you get that kind of high again? Well, you turn to drugs and alcohol, and that causes more problems. What's the reason why people seem to turn that way?
That is a great question that to this day, after all my experiences in Hollywood, I can't quite answer. I've never been pressured into drugs or alcohol. I've never been pressured into a certain lifestyle that I would be ashamed of looking back in hindsight.
Yes.
I don't understand how colleagues of mine in the industry, how they feel propelled into that world. I've never even had to make a conscious effort to pull away from it. I can't even articulate what they must be going through. I can't even imagine.
Would you say that has to do a lot with the way your mom raised you as a child?
Absolutely. Actually, it was just my mom and I in the industry from the time I was 12 until now, and she was my best friend growing up. She was the one person I could turn to and I could trust unconditionally. And looking back, she gave me the best advice possible. Every step of my way, she was there. She came on set just to make sure I was okay, and I couldn't have asked for better support in a family system.
So she kept you in reality. She kept you reality-based.
Yeah, I'm assuming maybe she foresaw what could be.
Right.
She prevented it before I even had an inkling of what was ahead.
Very smart woman. Oh, yeah.
She's amazing. She's I don't know how. Sometimes I think back and how she endured this life and pursued her dream of America, and I don't know if I were in her position if I would have the same strength. She's unbelievable.
You come from a great family line, so that's you're going to have it. I don't think you have to worry about it. I think whatever you do is going to be very successful because I could tell just the way talking with you that you have a very positive look towards life. Well, it's fantastic talking with you today, and I wish you continued success. By the way, do you have a date you're getting married so I can read this in the tabloids and things? I know you don't like to put your personal life, because you understand the difference, and it's terrible. My father says don't get, he would always tell us don't get involved with things into people's personal lives. They have a life, leave them alone.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
You're the only one who knows. I haven't told anyone yet.
Oh, great.
It's December 28th of this year.
Of this year. Oh, he doesn't mess around.
Married lady.
He doesn't mess around, does he?
No, he's very responsible, very reasonable about it.
Oh, wait, this is fantastic.
You're the only one who knows.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Masiela. Then I'll see all the wedding pictures and everything then.
Definitely. It'll be in Wanaka Peak in New Zealand.
Yes, see that, because I'm sure it's going to be all over. And last thing, do you have a Twitter that people can follow and keep up with you?
Absolutely. It's just my first name, @Masiela, Iela.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, and you have a lovely day, and you're a blessed young lady, and all the best in life has to offer to you should go to you.
Thank you, Phil. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.